why are genealogies important and why should we not look at it and say like, oh no, not one of these today in my Bible
Well,
reading?
we've all had that experience, right? Especially as new believers, but let's admit it, seasoned Christians, you wake up in the morning, you want nourishment from God's word and you open up. No, it's Genesis 5. It's 32 verses of genealogy of begats and deaths and long lives and weirdness. And you grasp onto Enoch walked with God and that's your nourishment for the day or something. But when you step back and look at Genesis as Steve Dempster, others, I think Graydonis, Walke, they've done really helpful work, helpful to me on the genealogies. But when you pay attention to wording in Genesis in Hebrew, you've got this phrase, Ela Toledot, and it means these are the generations. And that occurs 10 times, well, an 11th as well. It's kind of A and B, but really as the chapters and verses in the Bible were added much later and they were reference points so that we could find things, but they're not inspired or inerrant. But as Moses is writing Genesis, he structures the book in 10 sections and each one begins with an Ela Toledot. These are the generations. And so that's something to notice. A number of times, Ela Toledot introduces a genealogy. So Genesis 5, these are the generations of Adam. Or this is the book of the generations of Adam in that one, which, by the way, that's Matthew 1:1. This is the book of the genealogy of Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's
And
right.
it's,
Yeah.
it's riffing off, it's echoing Genesis 5:1. But you've got this phrase, this is the genealogy. These are the generations of 36 Esau, that is Edom. And you've got these genealogies that are introduced by that, but you also have that phrase introducing a story, a narrative. And usually it's the son or the firstborn or the next generation that's the focus of the story to follow. And so these are the generations of Terah. And then it goes on to talk about Abram and his narrative in 11:27 to 25, chapter 25.
Yeah.
And so anyway, okay, so now I know it frames, but let's just remember the key verse in Genesis 3:15. And what does it teach? There's one that's going to come in the lineage of the woman who's going to crush the head of one in the lineage of the serpent. And so that verse is telling us as readers, look for that one. And so every time someone's born in Genesis and we might wake up in the morning and read a genealogy and be tempted to say, the Peanuts, the teacher in Peanuts, wah, 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 wah.
Yeah.
You're looking at black marks on a page, but it's so tempting this is just a throwaway portion of God's word. But actually, if that's a promise in 3:15 of Genesis, and if Genesis is structured around 10 statements, these are the generations, every time we have one, we should be asking the question, is this the one, the ultimate one to come, who's going to win the victory over sin, death, and hell for us? Or is this one in that lineage that's going to lead to the one to come? And
Yeah.
that changes the whole experience of reading the book. And I'm not saying that all the little details are just going to be riveting on our morning devotions as we get up, before breakfast, before work. But when we see the theological purpose of the genealogies, it pops off the page and into our hearts. God's doing something.